Hello, welcome to Alchemy Animation. It is a third part of a series called My Messy Marriage. Let's begin. On the next day, Sunbae was sitting on his office and reading the wedding invitation of Kang and Soran. He was thinking that why do I feel so down these days? Is it because I'm getting old? After a thought, he stood up and left for the meeting room. In the meeting room, Soran was sitting in front of him. He said, Soran, I reviewed your opinion letter regarding LW Factory. She asked, did I do something wrong? Sunbae shows a thumbs up and said no, it was flawless. Absolutely perfect, it's exactly what I wanted. She said, for a second I thought I made a mistake or something. He said, I think we can wrap up this case here. I do have a few miscellaneous questions for you though. She said, sure, ask them. He asked who popped the question. She didn't understand what he is saying. He said, finding out that you and Kang were in relationship was shocking enough, but then you guys announced you were getting married. So I got curious about a bunch of things. In college, Kang and Soran belonged to two distinct friend groups. He was thinking that he was the one who introduced Yunhui and Hong to each other, but he never considered setting Kang with Soran. If the two came to know each other through Yunhui, then I guess their relationship would make more sense. But when Soran took Kang on as a client, she said he probably had no idea who she was. With a smile, she said, I promised to him. After a thought, he said, there is something you should know about Kang. Back when we were in college, I dragged him to a party once. And as you can imagine, the girls were all over him. Some drunk girls started hitting on him. And one of the girls tried to touch his neck. He suddenly pushed her away from himself. Then one of the girls told everyone that Kang had hit her. Soran remembered that rumor? She never believed it though. Sunbae said everyone seemed to believe it, so I asked him if he was going to do something about it, and Kang said, why would I? I like that people are keeping their distance from me. Sunbae said that's why I was shocked to hear that he is getting married, and it was a big surprise for me. With a bright smile, she said, I guess that just shows how incredible charming I am. I mean, I'm definitely a catch. Sunbae was looking at her in a shocking way. After saying that, she becomes shy. She said, sorry Sunbae, it was meant to be a joke. But it was not funny. He laughed and said, no, it was funny. Of course you are a catch, ran Soran. She said, stop, I would not joke about it again. He congratulated her and said, I realized that I had not done that yet, so congratulations on your marriage. He was thinking that once I congratulate her, this frustration I feel will go away, right? She said, you are actually the first one to congratulate me, Sunbae. He said, I think I get why. I'm sure everyone was too shocked to say anything. She said, you are the best, Sunbae, thank you. He was making a smiley face, but inside he was thinking, oh no, it's still there, the feeling. Someone knocked at the door. Soran said, come in. It was a worker at that firm. He said, Miss Wu, a client requested a legal consultation with you. They said it's urgent, should I put them through? She said, oh yes, thank you. The telephone near her started to ring. Sunbae stood up and said, all right, then I will leave you to work. She said, okay, and thanks again. Sunbae was about to leave the room. Soran picked the call, and someone said, it's me, Soran. Soran remembered the voice and said, it's Ginseng. Sunbae stopped after hearing the voice. Ginseng said, glad to see you have not forgotten my voice. She asked, why the hell are you calling me at work? He replied, because you would not answer my calls. I did not have a choice. In anger, Sunbae coming to give him a reply, and saying that you son of a bitch. But Soran stopped him and started to record. She asked, do you have any idea what you are doing right now? He said, are you angry at me? I have never seen you get angry, not even when I cheated on you, which was actually kind of upsetting. Soran was thinking that he keeps eating and eating away at me like a parasite that infects your whole being. He said, anyway, why are you getting so worked up about this? You keep avoiding me like I'm some kind of virus. So this is the solution I came up with. She was thinking that even if I filed for a temporary restraining order, what will happen once it expires? I can't count only legal protection with this pest who does not know how to give up. She said, did not you heard I'm getting married? He replied, I did hear about that. But I know that you are only getting married to that jerk because of me. She asked, what are you saying? He said, you are gonna regret your decision. Kang is the person who beats women and has a horrible personality. I knew better than anyone else because I'm family, After hearing this, Sunbae came into more anger and about to say something bad to him. But Soran stopped him. Jin Sang said, "You have no idea what Kang and his grandpa did to my family, do you? Did you make a move on him to screw me over? I was such a good boyfriend to you, and this is how you repay me. You were so freaking proud, even though you came from nothing. Even when we were dating, you were never fully committed to me. You were always like, my dad is sick, I gotta help my brother, I gotta study." In an anger, Jin Sang is hitting a car, and said, "All of this is so annoying, I was never a priority to you." While he was hitting the car, all of this was recorded in the camera. He said, "Why did you even date me for 9 years? I guess you took everything you needed from me, huh?" She was thinking, what is he smashing right now? Jin Sang said, "After all of that you moved on to my richer cousin. You are unbelievable." He was still hitting the car and someone was coming towards him. Jin Sang said, "Even if you get hit by Kang, you have no one to blame but yourself." But then suddenly that person put his hand on Jin Sang's shoulder. Jin Sang was shouting because of the pain and dropped his phone. He looked back at the person and found that he is Kang. He said, "What the heck, what are you doing here?" Jin Sang started to apologizing to him and saying, "I did not mean what I'm saying, I was just frustrated, you see." Kang said, "I don't particularly enjoy hitting people." After hearing the voice, Soran came to know that she know that voice. "It's Mr. Kang." Kang said, "I think I should get rid of this garbage." In a fear, Jin Sang was saying, "What are you gonna do? Don't you dare. If you hit me, I'm gonna sue you." But then suddenly Kang hit him very hardly. After the fight, Jin Sang was sitting in the police station. He was saying, "I'm gonna press charges on him. There is no way I'm gonna set up. He beat me to a pulp, officer, like a thug. I can totally sue him, right? Should not he be charged for a criminal offense?" The police officer said, "Please calm down, sir." Jin Sang said while looking at Kang that, "Just look at that thug. Look how confident he is. I want my lawyer, where is my lawyer?" The police officer is still saying, "Please lower your voice." Soran was saying, "Stop bothering the officer. He is probably really busy right now." I recorded our call and handed it over to him along with security camera footage from the parking lot. Jin Sang asked, "What are you saying?" Soran said, "You repeatedly kicked my car and posed clear damage, and you did it intentionally. That's classified as criminal damage to property." In a panic situation, Jin Sang said, "What I did was nothing." Soran said, "You also insulted me and spread false rumors about Kang." Jin Sang asked, "What are you talking about?" Soran replied, "You have also been incessantly stalking me for months." So taking all that into account, the police are likely to excuse Kang action, especially if they see that it was a one-time assault, triggered by all the nonsense you were spewing. She was glaring at him and said, "Go ahead and press charges. If you want to find out how far I'm willing to go." Jin Sang said, "I am the victim here. Whose side are you on?" She said, "Of course I'm from Kang's side, because he is my fiancé." She said, "I don't want to get revenge on you and I don't approach him with an agenda." Kang was hearing all of this and staring at Soran. She said, "Please stop thinking that I am with him because of you." After a minute she said, "I love him with all my heart." After hearing this, Kang's heartbeat is increasing. Jin Sang came into more sadness and anger. With a shaking voice he said, "You and I spent our entire 20s together. You were my everything." Sunbae said, "Come on in, Jin Sang, the police don't need this information." While crying, Jin Sang said, "Sunbae, you understand, right? I was a dedicated person, and how can this be the end of our story?" Sunbae was thinking, "I'm not sure because you are the only one who told everyone about your relationship. I just remember Soran studying." He just gave him a smile and said, "I understand, of course I do. Your relationship was special, but it's been a year since the breakup, right? If you really love her, you should learn how to say goodbye with grace. Clinging to her is making everyone miserable, and trying to bring her back is not working. Once you let her go, a new love will come into your life." Very generously he said, "Don't you want to look back on your time together with his fond memories? It's time to let Soran go and move. You have your whole life ahead of you. Who knows, you might fall in love again. And you might love them more than you did Soran." With the crying phrase, Jin Sang said, "I feel like I was unfairly blamed. You know, I did not cheat on her on purpose. I was seduced. The person I really loved was Soran." Sunbae was thinking that how can he be so pathetic? And then someone entered and shouting, "Who was it? Who hit my precious son?" It wasn't Jinsang's mother. Sunbae said she looks like one of those overbreaking mother-in-laws on TV. The lady was saying, "Show yourself. I'm gonna throw you in jail." Who was it? Kang stood up and said, "It was me. I hit him." With a serious look she was looking at him, and he's also glaring at her. But then suddenly she gave a smile and said, "Oh gosh, cousins should not fight. Just use words next time, okay?" She came towards Jinsang and said, "Let me see your face, Jinsang, it's all right. Rubbing a hard-boiled egg over your prices will make them go away." Jinsang said, "Mom, he beat me up." She replied, "What do you want to eat, honey? Let's go get something delicious," and then she took him out of the station. At the evening, Soran thanked Kang and said, "Thank you for the ride." He replied, "If Jinsang shows up again, call me first." With a blushy face she was thinking, I'm not sure if this is something he should actually do, or if he is just playing his role. She said, "Alright, I will do that." She was thinking, all of this makes me feel so safe and happy. He gave her something and said, "Have this with your coworkers." She opened the bag and found that there are pastries in it. Kang said bye. She was thinking that did he stop by my office just to give me this? But after a thought she said no, it can't be possible. She saw the logo on the bag and she recognized. Her friend Yeonwi told her about this bakery a few days ago. She said Mr. Kang got an exclusive partnership with them recently. And it was really tough because they were so fuzzy. She came to the conclusion that he must have given these to me for consumer testing purposes. Actually, there are many holes in Soran logic except when she is doing her job. On the other side, Kang was driving his car and thinking when Soran said, "I love him with all my heart." He said he know that's not true. There is no way she meant what she said. She should really stop pushing my limits, because I don't know how much longer I can hold back. After some time at the office, Soran was talking to her friend. Yeonwi asked that Jinsang mother just left. But that woman has a nasty temper. Maybe she keep quit because she did not want to press charges against her relative. Soran said, "I don't think so." Even when they ran into each other at the cafe the other day, she immediately started walking on eggshells around him. Her friend said maybe this is the reason Chairman Kang inherited most of the food from his father, and the youngest sibling did not take anything, saying he was not interested in managing the businesses, and the second eldest Jinsang's grandfather was only given a small affiliated company. That company was then passed on to his son, but apparently it's not being managed properly. But anyway, it's an affiliated company of TH Group which used to be run by Chairman Baek, so it makes sense that Jinsang's mother would be careful around the chairman and Kang. Soran asked, "How do you know all of this? Did you run a background check?" Her friend said, "Come on, why would I do that? It was actually Hong who did. He got so excited when I told him that Kang and Jinsang were related." She gave her a pastry and said, "Try this, it's so good." Soran said, "So it was a background check?" She said no for the pastry. Her friend said, "Well, I'm really happy for you. You just pay back the money you owe that loser and forget about him." Soran said, "Yeah, I can't wait for that day to come," and then she laughed. Her friend said, "In reality you are a lucky girl, Soran." Soran was confused. Her friend said, "You told me that Kang punched Jinsang in the face as soon as he heard him talking crap about you." Soran replied, "Yeah, he did." Her friend said, "Well, that's not something you can do unless you really love someone." In her mind she wondered if Hong would have done the same thing for her. She said, "He must love you loads, you lucky girl." After hearing this, Soran was lost in her thoughts, and with a blushy face she was thinking, what does this mean? Does Mr. Kang actually love me? Yeonwi said, "On the other side, Hong only does things I tell him to do. It's like he's a programmed robot." Soran replied, "But he is also a genius." With a proud face, Yeonwi said, "I don't know about him being a genius, but he has this silly side to him that's so endearing." Yeonwi said, "Last night while he was doing the dishes, he was trying to fit a big bowl into a small one." However, Soran was not listening to her. She was lost in her thoughts. She was thinking, Mr. Kang punched Jinsang because he loves me, but he never even paid attention to me in college. I can't think of a reason why he would love me. Yeonwi was still telling her about Hong, but Soran was still not listening to her, and then she remembered when Jinsang said, "You are gonna regret this decision." He beats women and has a horrible personality. Jin Sang insulted Mr. Kang, that must be the reason he punched him. She thought she'd get it now why he hit him. Yonghui said, you are not listening to me, are you? Let me start again from the beginning. Last night while Han was doing the dishes and so on. After that, few days passed, and in the days that follow, our wedding preparations came together quickly and smoothly. There were so many little decisions we had to make. But I don't really have any wedding fantasies to begin with. And more importantly, Mr. Kang made most of the decisions, so there was not much for me to worry about. But then one day Kang called her and said something. She asked, your grandfather prepared a gift for us. Kang said yes. I don't know what it is either. He just told me to bring you. So are you free this weekend? She said yes, I don't have any plans. Kang replied, all right, I will pick you up at your place. And then he hung up the call. His heartbeat was still high. He is thinking that it's been a week since I have seen Soran. I can't wait. He don't care about the gift. On the weekend his grandfather asked them, what do you think, do you like it? Soran said, Chairman Baek, I'm so sorry, but I don't understand what you are referring to. Grandfather said, I'm talking about this house. It's for you and Kang to live in. I had it built so I could give it to Kang one day as a wedding gift, and then he laughed. Soran was shocked after hearing that. His grandfather laughed and said, your eyes are so wide. Is it because you love it so much? Soran said, no, it's not that, Chairman Baek. I think this is too much. She was thinking that I cannot accept such an enormous gift for a marriage that is not even real. I'm deceiving him. Grandfather said, I thought you might say that. So I made sure the house was under joint ownership. And I will take care of the gift tax, so don't worry. She was thinking that now it's become an even more generous gift. He and I have very different ideas about that. Kang said, Soran will be moving into my apartment after the wedding. We don't have time to take care of a garden. Soran was happy and looked at him. She was thinking that Mr. Kang is on my side. His grandfather said, then just hire a gardener. Kang replied, it will take half a day to clean the floors. His grandfather said, then hire a housekeeper. Kang said, hiring people is not the solution to everything. His grandfather replied, it's called a job creation, my boy. Kang turned away and said, let's go. Soran said, okay. His grandfather said, it's my wish for you and Soran to have this house. Are you still going to refuse? Kang said, please stop using the it's my wish card. That's for people whose days are numbered. Kang remembered that conversation when his grandfather said, I'm going to die unless you get married this year. Kang asked, have you gone to see Dr. Jang recently? Soran was thinking about Dr. Jang, and is that the chairman's doctor? His grandfather replied, yes, but there was not much to talk about. I'm fit as fiddle. Anyway, stop trying to change the subject. Are you going to accept the house or not? Kang moved away and said, I already gave you my answer. His grandfather said, this house is not a gift from me but from your father. Kang asked, from my father. Soran was thinking, Mr. Kang's father. Earlier Kang told her that his father passed away before his first birthday. The grandfather said, since I've got your attention now, let's go take a look inside, it's quite magnificent. Both of them were thinking about it, and after some time grandfather said, take your time looking around the rest of the place. I must get going now. I will see you again soon, Soran. Both of them were sitting on the bench. Soran said, it's gorgeous here. I think it will be even more beautiful in the spring. Kang replied, yes, it's true. Soran was looking at him. But he is not talking about anything. She was thinking that Mr. Kang's father designed this house. He must have imagined all the happy memories they should created together as a family. His son would run around and play soccer in the yard, and he should be excited to join him, while his wife watched them play from this very bench. But he never got to see that happen. Earlier, when his grandfather giving them a tour of the house, he said, one of my son's co-workers came up to me at his funeral and handed me a blueprint. They said it was a house he should hope to build one day. My son had left behind just two things. One was the blueprint and the other was Kang. She was thinking that instead of pushing his son to pursue corporate management, Chairman Baek supported his son's dream, and that was to become an architecture. His grandfather said then he fell in love with one of the workers at the office. And from that point on, every single choice I made was wrong. The woman he loved had suffered domestic violence from her ex-husband. One day her drunk ex-husband swung a knife at her, and accidentally stabbed himself to death. She had grown up an orphan, been married once before and had a traumatic past. My wife and I desired a warm, bright love for our son. We were against their marriage, but he gave up everything to be with her. We thought we should lost our only son that day, but we ended up losing him for good a few years later in the fire. His grandfather said we knew that he and his wife were renting an old apartment and were struggling financially, but we ignored them because they should say it. All they needed was each other. At that time the fire left nothing behind, not even their faces, which had burned to ash. We don't know what happened, whether it was an accident or if someone had set the building on fire. But by some miracle we found you. Kang survived the incident. It gave me and my wife a reason to go on, and pregnant women who lived next door somehow broke down the door, and she saved him. While listening to this story, Soran was thinking it really was a miracle. His grandfather said the cost of my stubbornness was too great, so I thought to myself, no matter who Kang chooses to marry, I will fully support his decision. I want to do that for my son who is watching from heaven, so will you please accept this gift? And at the current time Soran was thinking that the chairman poured his heart into building this house for Mr. Baek, and it holds so much meaning. I'm not his real granddaughter-in-law, so I don't deserve to live in this house. But then suddenly Kang said, let's live in this house. I know why you feel hesitant, but I think I should fulfill my grandfather's wish. Soran asked, but how? He said, don't worry, it will get better. He stood up and thinking that because I'm gonna make us become an actual married couple, not just one on paper, he started to move away and said, I left something in the living room. I will be right back, she said. Okay, and after that, she started to think, what's going to get better? The guilt I feel? But I suppose there are ways to lessen my guilt. And then suddenly a thought came into her mind. With a blushy face she was thinking, for an instant, if Mr. Kang were to actually love me. But then she came back to her mind and thinking, what am I saying? I keep having weird thoughts these days. And then she noticed the house made besides a tree. She wondered, what's that? Soran was moving towards the tree house. She entered into it and saw a beautiful view out of the window. She remembered when Kang's grandfather said, every nook and cranny of this house represents the life Kang's father dreamed of having with his son. He hoped that Soran will accept this gift and bring his dream to life. On the other side, Kang was staring at the swimming pool, thinking about his father and his own childhood, and imagining a scene in which he and his father were playing in that swimming pool. But that's not the case. After some time he came out of the house, and wondering where did Soran go. He heard the voice Soran was saying, Mr. Kang came here. I'm up here in this tree house, it is so nice. With a bright smile she was waving towards him, but then suddenly a bee came towards her, and in that moment she was about to fall from the stairs. Kang was also standing on the stairs and then he grabbed her. Both of them came into a unique situation, in which both of them were very close to each other, and their lips are about to touch. Their heartbeat increased so much, and she was feeling like she's so close to him, and she feels Kang is staring straight into her soul. And then she dreamed off about kissing him. In reality they were not kissing. Kang asked, Mr. Wu, are you alright? With a blushy face she moved back. Kang asked, are you hurt anywhere? She replied, no, I'm okay. You don't have to worry about me. Kang said, you do something to worry me and then tell me not to worry. She was thinking that what is wrong with me? I can't believe I fantasized us kissing just because you looked at me all attractive. She was trying to calm herself down, and thinking if you mess this up and lose Mr. Kang's favor, you will never be able to escape. Jean saying, don't forget your duties as his marriage partner. You should not do anything to draw attention to yourself. She gave a smile and said, Mr. Kang, some changes must be made to our contract. In our original contract, the living space we agreed to share was your apartment. However, since we will be living in this house instead, I think we need to renegotiate our terms. Kang asked, are you talking about dividing up the living space? She replied, yes, that's correct. He said, let's talk about it while we look around the house. She said, okay, Mr. Kang. She was looking at him and feeling like her soul had left her body. She was thinking that who said women can only sleep with men they love? I think they are wrong. I'm having all sorts of wild thoughts even though I don't love him. At the night both were sitting on the chair. Soran said this house has an external staircase that connects the first and second floor. It'd be easy to choose a floor to live in. We will be able to keep our lives almost fully separate, which I think would be good. Kang was thinking that it should be nice for you but not for me. She said, first of all let me go through all the spaces that we will have to share. She said there is the basement garage. Of course each floor has a separate entrance but… And then she was looking at the contract and thinking about something. Kang was thinking, how are you so calm? Just a minute ago that happened. My heart almost stopped because of that. If I had let go of reason, I should have kissed you right then and there. And then Soran asked Mr. Kang, which floor would you like to use? The first or the second? He was thinking that I want to share the first floor with you. I will cook breakfast for you every morning, and we will use the room that gets the most sunlight as our master bedroom. I want to wake up and feel the sun on our skin, and see your face when I open my eyes. But I'm going to hold back right now. He said you can use the first floor, Miss Soran. I will use the second. He was thinking that I'm not going to say my true feelings until you fall for me. After some day at Grand Hotel, all of the guests came prepared for the wedding. His grandfather were greeting all of the guests. Rin was sitting in the car and saying, why is there so much traffic today? Someone said, Mr. Kang, you need to wear a tie. Kang looked back at her and said, don't worry, I will take care of it. Soran was thinking that I did not think this day would come. But here we are, my wedding day. After some time Sunbae knocked the door. Someone said, yes, come in. He opened the door and said, Ran Soran. He found her wearing a wedding dress and he thought that she looks pretty. She waved her hand towards him. He came towards her and said, wow, you look beautiful, absolutely stunning. I'm sad to give you away. Soran said, I know you don't mean that, but thank you, and then she laughed. Yonghui said, you are not giving her away, Sunbae. Soran's brother is right here. Sunbae shook hand with her brother. Sunbae said, Soran has told me so much about you. I'm Sunbae from college as well as the head of the law firm. Her brother said, I am Songjun. Thank you for always helping Soran. Sunbae laughed and said, it's actually the other way around. Sunbae said, I'm usually the most handsome person in the room. But you are a very good-looking man yourself. He said, Yonghui, can you take a photo of us? Yonghui said, I should say you fall pretty far behind in terms of your looks. He again said, take the photo if you want vacation this year. Both of the girls were laughing. And then suddenly Kang entered into the room. All of them went silent. Kang said, I want you to do my tie. She said, oh sure. Someone said to Soran, let me help you with your dress. She said, thank you. Both of them left. Sunbae was saying, man, he's like the human equivalent of a cold bucket of water. Yonghui replied, come on, they look happy together. On the other side, Soran was tying a tie for him. Heartbeat of both of them increases rapidly. He came close to her, but then he moved away his head. She asked, do you feel uncomfortable? He said, keep going. He was thinking that I do feel uncomfortable. It was not this difficult when Soran was out of my reach, because I could just ignore this heart-sinking feeling. But now she is right here within my reach, and it's actually making things even harder. With a smile she said, all done. He was thinking that if there's something I want, I hold my breath and wait until the right time comes. That's what I have always done to achieve my goals. But Soran, you keep trying my patience. I will bring you over in the end. There will be no way out. In a fast speed, Rin parked her car. She came out of the car and saying, my shoes are definitely comfy. It was given by Soran at that time. Soran said, wear these instead of your heels now. They will be much more comfortable. Rin accepted that gift. She was thinking that she did not have to get me these. Inside the banquet, a child was walking. Both Hong and Sunbae were sitting on the ground and saying, come here. Hong was saying, Seohu, come to daddy. Sunbae was saying, come here and say hey to this handsome guy. But then after some step the child fall on the ground and started to cry. Hong held him in his hand. And then he started to laugh again. Hong was saying, did you get a boo-boo? Yonghui said, you took 10 steps on your own, Seohu, it's very great. Soran was thinking, I guess he knows his dad is holding him even though he's just a baby. Seohu is 10 months old right now, which is how old Mr. Kang was when he lost his parents. I'm sure Mr. Kang also knew what it was like to be held in the parents' arms. I'm not sure why, but he can't have other people do his tie or button his shirt. But he said he's okay with me. I've been wanting to do something for him as his partner, even though we are just getting married on paper, and if that what he needs is someone who can button his shirt, I will gladly be that person for him. Hong was saying Seo-ho dad is more handsome than this guy, right? Sunbae said you disagree, right? I'm more handsome than your dad. Kang looked towards Soran. She was waving her hand towards him. He started to move towards her. She said come closer. He came very close to her. She said once we get married I will take good care of you. After hearing this his face was fully red. He moved away and left the room. Sunbae said what's up with him? Did you say something to upset him, Soran? She replied I'm not sure, I did not really say much. She was thinking that I just said I should take good care of his shirt and tie. Rin reached to the wedding floor. She was thinking that I feel sick again. The people were talking to each other. They were saying this is the groom's side. The bride's side is over there. They were looking at Soran's brother and saying, who's that, is he a model? I think he's the bride's older brother. And then Rin noticed him and thinking that what is he doing here? On the other side Kang was in the washroom. He was thinking about the earlier movement when Soran said she will take care of him. He was thinking how she is going to take care of me because she doesn't even know what I want. He stepped out of the washroom and found that Rin was sitting beside a plant pot. Rin was shaking and saying oh my god. She looked towards Kang and said you scared me, Kang. He said you should not have gone to a loan shark. She asked what loan shark? He replied you are hiding, so I just assumed. She said no and then she moved her hand and said, hey come over here. He replied no I'm not coming. She again said come on. He came towards her. She asked while pointing her finger towards Soran brother that. Who is that? He replied who are you talking about? There are a lot of people here. She said that guy, the one who clearly stands out. He noticed that she's talking about Soran's brother. He asked you mean the one in the dark navy suit wearing a purple flower? She replied yeah that one in the dark navy suit with the purple flower. He said the man who is tall like a model, handsome like a movie star and smiles like an angel. She said yes the handsome guy with angelic features that looks like a model, who is he? Then a thought came into her mind and she looked towards Kang. He was smiling. She said whatever you have in mind it's not true. He said it's got to be one of the two. Either you fell in love with him at first sight, or he is the father of your child. She said shut up, just answer my question. Who is he and what is he doing here? He said he is Hyung. She asked what you had a brother? He replied he is Soran's older brother. She said he is Soran's brother. But his last name is Woo. He said so what? Soran's surname is also Woo. She said they might have the same last name. But they look nothing alike. He replied it is her brother. His name is Seongjin Woo. Kang was looking at her and thinking. I was wondering who had walked out on a smart woman like Rin. Who would have thought it should be my brother-in-law? But I don't think he should hurt someone like that. Then that must mean there is something going on between them. His grandfather was asking Rin's grandfather that when is Rin going to get married? Their grandparents replied I have given up. Her parents keep trying to set her up but she just ignores them. Her grandmother said I don't think she is interested in dating anyone. I guess she's planning to be alone for the rest of her life. Her grandfather replied she is always going on about choosing to be single. It's almost like she's protesting against us. Her grandmother said this is all her parents' fault, it's all on them. They always prioritized work over their child and were always so cold to Rin. Well, I guess you reap what you sow. Her grandfather said I suppose you don't have to worry about that now. What do you like so much about your granddaughter-in-law? What made you approve of their marriage? Kang's grandfather said what matters is not my approval, it's their love for each other. But there was something about Soran. At first all Kang told me was her name and company, so I got curious, and went onto the company's website to see her photo. But I found that she felt so familiar, though I should never seen her before. Just looking at her photo moved me. He said I thought to myself it must be because she and Kang are meant to be together. Jin Sang's family also entered into the marriage. Hong Yun-hui noticed them and said, what are they doing here? Someone came into the bride room and said there are 20 minutes until the bride's entrance. With a smile Soran replied all right. She was thinking that I'm so nervous. Everything will go smoothly if I just do what I'm told, right? Rin grandfather said Chairman Baek, did you told Kang? Kang grandfather asked, what are you talking about? Rin grandfather said, about what your doctor said. Kang grandfather replied, I'm going to stop you right there. Let's not talk about that on such a joyous day. With a smile he said, I built Kang his father's dream house, and I get to see him get married today. I don't care about that right now. And then suddenly Jin Sang mother said, how have you been, Chairman Baek? She was standing behind him. She said, I came to congratulate you. Her husband said, hello uncle. Yeonhui came towards Kang and told him about Jin Sang. He asked, Jin Sang is here? She replied, yes, he just went into the wedding hall. I can't believe he showed up here. She said, I don't think he will cause a scene. But you know that Jin Sang and his mother lack common sense. What if they say something weird in front of the other guests? After hearing this he leave her. She asked, where are you going? He said, to kick out the unwelcome guest. Yeonhui was shocked after hearing this. Jin Sang's mother said, my sincere congratulations, Chairman. I know how smart and beautiful Soran is. You see, she and Jin Sang were together for a long time. It's a shame they did it for 9 whole years. You can just imagine how deep of connection they shared. After hearing this, all of the guests were talking about them. She said, Soran family is not very well. So we helped her a lot over the years. I was shocked to hear they broke up so suddenly. On the other side, Yeonhui was trying to stop Kang, and said they have not done anything yet. Sunbae noticed her, and said, what's up with him? He looks like he's about to punch someone in the face. Yeonhui replied, he actually might. In a panic situation, she said, Jin Sang and his family are here. Sunbae asked, what are they doing here? Jin Sang mother was saying, my goodness. Soran then immediately started dating Jin Sang's wealthier cousin. You see, Soran is quite the clever girl. Probably do well in life. I will give her that. I'm worried about one thing, though. On the other side, Hong and Sunbae was trying to stop Kang from approaching them. She said, I hope Kang does not get stabbed in the back too. After hearing this, Kang pushed them away by his strength and freed himself from both of their grip. But then his grandfather said, if you don't have anything more to say, then get out. After hearing this, all of them went silent. She asked, excuse me. He replied, I will not listen to another word from you speaking nonsense about my granddaughter-in-law, so get out of my sight. That's all for today's video. If you want to know what happened next, then like and subscribe. Alchemy Animation YouTube channel.